Interpersonal relationships are a necessary component of a fulfilled and happy existence. They are a source of direction and inspiration when we need it, as well as a source of inspiration through collaboration. Most importantly, they fulfill our basic human desire to belong to a group that we respect and appreciate. It takes time, experience, and attention to one's own needs as well as the needs of others to develop successful interpersonal connections. In connection to this, our discussion will center on interpersonal relationships, which is the fourth lesson under Module 2. The following are the most essential learning competencies set for this lesson. 1. Discuss an understanding of teenage relationships, including the acceptable and unacceptable expressions of attraction. 2. Express his or her ways of showing attraction, love, and commitment. 3. Identify ways to become responsible in a relationship. Keep in mind these competencies since they are the goals that we need to achieve for this lesson. Here are the questions that will guide us in exploring the lesson. 1. What is the nature of interpersonal relationships in terms of meaning, types, and stages? 2. Why and how do interpersonal relationships happen? Answer these questions to check whether you learn the significant context of the lesson. Interpersonal relationships are defined as social connections, affiliations, or associations between two or more persons. Interpersonal connections are continuing interactions between individuals in which both sides' needs are met. Interpersonal relationships differ not only in terms of closeness or self-disclosure, but also in terms of longevity, reciprocity, and power distribution, to name a few. The context can vary from family or kinship relations, friendship, marriage, relations with associates, work, clubs, neighborhoods, and places of worship. Relationships are the foundation of social groupings and society, and they can be governed by law, custom, or mutual consent. People's interactions with one another in social contexts form interpersonal connections. Interpersonal relationships come in a variety of forms, each with its own impact on people's sense of self and well-being. Furthermore, one person might play multiple roles in different types of relationships. A family member, for example, can also be a friend. Here are the types of interpersonal relationships. 1. Family. Family relationships result from the continual connections between members of a household who share a blood tie, such as a parent and a birth child, and/or a legal relationship, such as a married couple or a parent and an adopted child. These are the very first connections we make. These relationships have the potential to last a lifetime. Familial relationships are the foundation for meeting fundamental survival needs for food and shelter in early life. Also, the importance of family bonds for socializing, language learning, cognitive development, and physical growth cannot be overstated. It's natural to have personal differences among members of the family which can be addressed through open and courteous dialogue. 2. Friendships. Unlike family connections, friendships are voluntary attachments formed between people who are not related by blood or live in the same household. Friendships are frequently formed because of mutual interests and values. Friendships offer enjoyment and well-being, and some friendships can feel like family. Friends may bring up different sides of your personality, and it's natural for friends to have varying levels of intimacy. Some of these friendships will only survive a short period, while others will last a lifetime. It's quite acceptable to leave a toxic relationship if you find yourself in one. In the end, this will be the best option for both of you. 3. Romantic. Romantic relationships progress from mutual attraction to higher levels of physical and sexual closeness, distinguishing them from friendship and familial connections. Romantic ties, however, are frequently the foundation for creating family relationships through marriage and procreation. Romantic connections, like friendships, provide opportunities for happiness, well-being, and self-development. Psychologist Robert Sternberg defines romantic love as having three interconnected components: intimacy, passion, and commitment. Intimacy, as a component of a romantic relationship, is the feeling of closeness, bondedness, and attachment. Though romantic relationships are not the only relationships that are intimate, it is a vital component of romantic love. Another component of romantic love is passion. Passion, in the context of interpersonal relationships, is an intense feeling of emotional and sexual excitement for someone. Passion is the component of romantic love that most distinguishes it from other kinds of love. An equally important component of romantic love is commitment. This is the sense of loyalty, obligation, and permanence that people feel for someone to whom they are deeply connected. 4. Professional relationships. Professional relationships are defined as more formal interactions centered on job tasks. They also take place in the setting of the workplace, which frequently features clearly hierarchical power relations. The formality of interactions varies according to the type of the company's hierarchy. Companies with a strict hierarchy, in which management has a lot of authority over decision-making, for example, tend to have more formal relationships. Formality is also influenced by one's position in a hierarchy. People in similar occupations will have fewer formal interactions than those in different positions. The relationship model developed by Knapp explains how relationships develop, last, and end. This model is divided into 10 stages, each of which is divided into 2 interrelated stages: Knapp's relationship escalation and Knapp's relationship termination. This model aids in comprehending how a relationship develops and deteriorates. When a relationship develops, different levels of speed and duration between each stage can be seen and felt. Even throughout the advancement or degeneration of a relationship, the steps can be skipped. As was mentioned earlier, Knapp's interpersonal relationship model is grouped into 2 major stages. The first is the relationship escalation model. It is described as the coming together. The first phase of this stage is initiation. This brief phase is focused on establishing a good first impression. As a result, the judging at this point would be inaccurate. People will be worried about making a good first impression. The clothes they wear, the perfume they use, and their general appearance all play a significant influence in generating an impression. The second phase is experimentation. It's all about getting to know each other. Experimentation is also known as the probing stage, since everyone would examine the other for knowledge or a shared interest before deciding whether to maintain a relationship. Because of the disparity in interest levels, most of the partnerships end up here. The third phase is intensifying. At this point, the relationship gets more intense and less formal. People will begin to reveal personal details and assess the other's view of them. They discover numerous strategies to promote interpersonal growth by giving gifts, spending more time together, asking for dates, and demanding a romantic commitment, among other things. The fourth phase is integration. At this point, the people will begin to bring their relationships closer together than they were previously. People may fall in love or make close friends in their personal lives. A higher level of closeness might lead to a more serious relationship. The last phase is bonding. At this point, a person will disclose their relationship to the rest of the world. They formalize their connection and will legally uphold their commitment. The relationship is indefinite and can only be ended by formal notification, agreements, or death, among other things. The next main stage of the Knapp's interpersonal relationship model is the relationship termination model. It is characterized by coming apart. Similar to the first main stage, it has 5 phases. The first phase of this main stage is differentiating. As a relationship progresses, people may begin to think about themselves rather than with their spouse owing to external circumstances. They may begin to develop hobbies or other interests. The relationship will begin to deteriorate, and the unbreakable tie will be shattered. Dislike is frequently expressed by couples during their commitment. The second phase is circumscribing. Following the differentiation process, partners will limit their conversations and establish communication limits. People frequently avoid discussing the subject for fear of causing an argument. They will have their own activities and personal space. The third phase is stagnation. If the relationship reaches the stage of stagnation, it will continue to deteriorate. There will be fewer opportunities for communication. Children or other inescapable circumstances are the only reasons why the partners do not split. Many relationships at this stage will not last or improve. The fourth phase is avoidance. At this point, the partners will be physically separated and will avoid any touch. To avoid having a dialogue or an argument, they avoid all types of communication. The last phase is terminating. This is the final stage of coming apart. The partnership has come to an end. The partners will go their separate ways and carry on with their lives. Termination is not only a subjective decision like divorce, but it can also happen spontaneously as neighbors move out or roommates change as the year progresses. Various theories have been advanced to explain how connections are made and maintained. Relationships are important in our life, but they all hinge on the ability to find clear things in people. Let's take a closer look at the theories of interpersonal relation development, social exchange theory. In the year 1958, George Casper Homans proposed the social exchange theory. According to social exchange theory, give and take is the foundation of almost all relationships. However, the proportions may vary depending on the relationship's intensity. Every person in a relationship has expectations of his or her partner. A partnership that is devoid of expectations is pointless. For a good and long-lasting relationship, according to social exchange theory, feelings and emotions must be reciprocated. One-sided relationships are impossible. Only when a person gets something out of a relationship does he devote his time and energy to it. There are times when a person receives less than he offers in a relationship. As a result, the individual begins to compare his relationship to that of others. Comparisons may be extremely damaging since they prevent people from giving their utmost in relationships. Don't always imagine yourself in a better situation with someone else. Recognize your relationship and do everything you can to help him or her. Don't always rely on the other person to take the initiative. Take charge of your own destiny and place a high value on your relationship. The reductions theory. This theory was proposed by both Charles R. Berger and Richard J. Calabrese to describe the relationship between individuals who do not know each other well or are complete strangers. According to the uncertainty reductions theory, two strangers meeting for the first time go through a series of steps to reduce their level of uncertainty and become closer. Strangers must communicate well to get to know one another and determine their compatibility level. Following are the stages individuals go through to reduce the level of uncertainty in relationships. Entry stage. The initial stage is marked by two people getting to know each other better. Everyone tries to learn about the other's background, family, educational qualifications, interests, and hobbies, among other things. To build the tie and move the relationship to the next level, each person reveals his or her likes and dislikes. Personal stage. Individuals try to learn more about their partner's attitude and views in the second stage, also known as the personal stage. Individuals endeavor to learn more about the ethics, values, behavior, and overall nature of the other person. In the personal stage, people who are no longer strangers learn more about one another's personality traits. Exit stage. The relationship's fate is determined by the personal stage. Individuals who enjoy each other's company opt to make long-term commitments, such as getting married or staying together indefinitely. However, not every relationship blossoms into a marriage. Individuals who are unable to understand and adjust to one another opt to quit their relationship for the sake of a better future. Individuals exiting relationships in search of a more compatible spouse are said to be in the departure stage.